Let's get a word from our friend Tony Smith, former head of the UK Border Force. Afternoon to you, Tony.
Afternoon, Ian.
So what's going on here? People smuggling gangs returning people to France. Why are they doing that?
Yeah, actually, the Sun rang me about this one because they were a bit mystified when the story broke. What's going on, Ian, is these are Maghrebis, people from North Africa, mainly Tunisia, Morocco, Algeria, who are trying to get to France. And in order to get to France, they've got to get a Schengen visa, or a French visa, which is actually a Schengen visa, and they're being refused visas by the EU. So they're managing to get visas to come to the UK. And they do manage to get to the UK, not with the intention of staying here, but with the intention of going to France. And then once they're in the UK, they're climbing into the backs of lorries and they're smuggling themselves outbound.
Wow.
Dover,
so they're coming illegally into the UK to be smuggled back to France because their visa opportunities increase in that capacity or something?
Yes, correct.
Wow. I mean, this is nuts. You couldn't have written this one, Tony.
No, I did know it was going on, Ian, and I've got my sources. We don't actually, as you know, we don't actually have outbound Border Force checks in Dover ourselves. The French do the checks, don't they?
Yeah, of course.
Down at Dover on the outbound. So the French are pulling them out of lorries, not us.
Yeah.
And then they're throwing them over the fence to us. So that's how we found out about this. But it does raise questions, Ian, which we've spoken about the integrity of our own visa operation, doesn't it? Because we are giving visas to people who we shouldn't be giving visas to. Correct. From that part of the world. And we've already spoken, Ian, before about the number of visa holders that are now in the asylum system who are coming over here ostensibly to visit or study, and then as soon as they get here, claim asylum. Now, the visa system is our first line of defence, right?
Yeah,
it is a customer service. We do need to issue visas to people. We want people to come here and spend their dollars. But on the other hand, it is our first line of defence. If we are weakening our visa system, we are undermining the integrity of our entire border system. And I think that's the real story here.
And, of course, the other sort of slightly, I mean, this is not just being mischievous and having a pop at the Labour Party parties or the Labour government's policies, but it's quite interesting when you consider that the figures tell us that 243 migrants went back to France this way, which is nearly 100 more than we've sent back through the one-in, one-out scheme, which isn't worth the paper it's written on.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. I suppose the one in, one out. So we've spoken about that before. It seems to be one in and quite a few, well, quite 1,000 in, isn't it, Ian?
Yeah.
I think you worked it out before to compare to one out. I mean, so we do, at least we are getting the odd person back to France, but it's nowhere near enough to act as the removals deterrent we all need. So, yeah, that's not really working at the moment anyway.
It isn't. And some of them, of course, have come back. Even once they've gone on the out, then they've jumped on another boat and returned.
Yeah, but we do pick them up on the biometrics, so we can, identify them. But the real problem, as we've discussed before, is that at the moment, we get a lot about removals figures, saying we sent 50,000 people back or something. We analyse those figures, there's a lot of work done on those. Only a very small number of people arriving by a small boat have been returned, Ian, about 4%. And that's because they claim asylum. It's really, really hard to remove asylum seekers from this country. Much easier to remove overstayers or people that have, come in and just decided to go back after having overstayed their visa and vol debts, etc. But asylum is the problem. We need asylum removals targets. I had those when I was in UKBA. My feet were in the flames. You have to remove failed asylum seekers, which means refusing asylum, getting them out of the country quickly to send that deterrent message. And we're not actually removing failed asylum seekers. And that is why we've still got this huge problem with the small boats.
It is just extraordinary. I mean, to suggest it's a mess sort of just understates it in the most catastrophic sense. Tony, thank you as ever. Tony Smith, former head of the UK Border Force.